Hello, today we're going to talk about The Artist's Way, the number one best selling book. I don't know. I think it is. Anyhow, the version that I have here is the 30th anniversary, so it's got a bunch of other little cliff notes and stuff like that. But I'm kind of curious if I end up connecting here with anybody else that is doing The Artist's Way, because it's kind of a guidebook for this course to, it says here, discovering and recovering your creative self. So one thing that I worry about, like the main thing that I worry about, is, am I doing this wrong? Am I half-assing it? Am I putting my best effort into this? Because I find that I don't always have the time in the morning to do morning pages, which, I kind of wonder, is that completely defeating the purpose? I'm taking this very, very seriously, but, I have a work life, I have a home life, I have all that kind of stuff. And one thing that it hasn't really empowered me with here is the time to make space to do all the creative stuff in a real life, that we're leading here. Like, how do we get everything done and still tackle all these creative projects and stuff like that when I have creative projects in mind, but right now I'm just mostly doing homework from this book. They give you 10 tasks a week. They make you write 3 pages of stream of conscious stuff daily, which I do find value in, because I think that it's training your brain in a way to connect thoughts together, to not be so blocked, because you can go from thing to thing. When you're just dumping out onto a page every day, you kind of get into this routine, this habit that your brain is ready to create, So I think that's the good thing about it, but it's kind of like meditation. You're always wondering, am I doing this wrong? Am I cutting myself off at the knees, doing these morning pages in the afternoon or the evening rather than in the morning? Or is that okay? It doesn't really tackle that in the book here. And I'm just kind of curious if anybody else runs up against that problem. I have done something recently that has helped me do the morning pages in the morning a little bit more often. Is I will just keep an iPad beside me in bed, and then when I wake up in the morning, before picking up a phone or anything like that, I will just take the stylus and start writing in the iPad before I even get out of bed. And I find that that's like the best way, because if I get up out of bed, there's so many other things that can pull you away from your writing and stuff like that. And when that happens, then I'm thinking, okay, well, I'll just tackle this during lunchtime, or I'll tackle it in the afternoon and stuff like that. It's hard. So I need to figure out how I get to that point. And so what am I really learning from this course? So far, one of the biggest things that stands out to me is that your creative work is important. And a lot of times we have trouble, say, like, getting creative space from our partners or from our work life and that kind of thing. And, so I will explain to people, I need to take time to make a video. I need to take time to write. I need to do this or that. And what comes with that sometimes is this guilt. Like, oh, I'm gonna say I'm gonna make time for something, but I'm just sitting out in my studio making a YouTube video about this book, and nobody's gonna watch my YouTube video. I might have 50 people watch it or something like that. And am I just wasting my time? Like, all this guilt creeps in. Or I pull out the iPad and I'm like, I want to make an animation project, so I spend an hour like setting up a character and and rigging it and things like that. And then I'm like, oh, well, I did all that, but I never actually made an animation with it. So am I just wasting time? I feel guilty. And it does talk a little bit in here about every little thing you do creatively is just building up those skills. And one thing that I read recently that was kind of encouraging, it was just like, sometimes you just have to start and then things will kind of fall into place. So yeah, those are some of the principles that I'm picking up right now and some of the things that I'm trying to figure out. But even before I came into this book, I'm already thinking my art is important. Even though I'm not making a ton of money off of it, even though I don't have a successful career or anything like that, I have been growing mentally and realizing that this stuff is important and it is building skills and things that I play around with, like for fun. Sometimes I'm talking about animation apps and things like that. In my job, I have been able to sneak in like, hey, I'm going to work on some animations for a company project and put that into it. And then all of a sudden other people are seeing it and it's like, oh my gosh, we love this. So it then encourages me to do more. And I do want to continue to work on my personal projects and put those out and get encouragement from you guys for my animations and things like that. So yeah, I've had some stumbles and pitfalls along the way with this Artist Way course, but I hope to continue pushing through all 12 weeks. Like I said, I am starting week 3, and I'm just reading some of these pages here and hoping that I get where I need to be and unlocking myself in my creativity. And yeah, hopefully I get to a point where all of these little homework assignments and tasks and things like that don't feel like such a chore. And and I realize it's like working out. You need to work out the muscle of creativity just like anything else. So hey, if you're involved in the Artist Way, if you're doing this course, if you picked this up because you saw that Doce or somebody else was doing it, leave me a comment. I want to know where we can connect on these topics and get some help from each other. So thanks for watching. Peace.